A dissertation defense? It's like defending your academic honor, but like it's also your gateway to freedom. Hey Unfinished fam! I'm glad you showed up today, whether it's your first time here or you've returned for more of my shenanigans. Welcome. I'm sure you read the title of this video. I'll be breaking down what happens during a dissertation defense. You know the vibes. Hit subscribe and check out my social media pages, specifically my IG. I post some relatable reels. Anywho, if you've seen my what is a dissertation and formatting a dissertation videos, then you know what it is and how to write one. Now, I'll fill you in on what happens after you've proposed. You've passed your dissertation proposal, completed the work you said you would. Your advisors believe that you're ready to showcase the work that you've done, and they give their approval for a defense date. Well, what does it mean to defend your dissertation? Simply put, you create a presentation of about 45 to 60 minutes on the research that you've completed, and your committee determines if it's enough work for you to graduate. Your presentation is going to be taking what you've written in your document, putting it into a slideshow while highlighting key points. So, it won't just be your committee at the defense. It's common that your dissertation defense has to be open to the public. I had to inform my program director that I was defending and submit a flyer to be sent out. In some departments, it's also part of the culture for the presenter to provide food and drinks to their defense attendees. Mine was virtual, so I missed out on spending my little bit of money on feeding the department. Oh well. All right, back to business. Here's what happens once everyone is in the room. The facilitator, typically your advisor, will give an introduction of the defender and the title of the work that you'll be presenting. This takes less than 5 minutes. The defender then takes over the show. At that moment, you want to give thanks for the introduction and inform the audience when you prefer questions, i.e. at the end or throughout the presentation. I recommend at the end. Then you jump into your presentation, which should feel like you're telling an interesting and important story. Don't be afraid to engage your audience. You'll be talking for almost an hour about something that many people in your audience probably don't know a lot about. After you finish your presentation, your facilitator will open the floor to the general audience for questions. Your committee is not considered part of the general audience and will not be asking you questions at this time. There isn't usually a time limit on this, but it can take from 20 to 30 minutes depending on what kind of questions you get and who's in your audience. When there aren't any more questions from the general audience, your facilitator will politely ask for everyone to exit the room except for you and your committee members. I found this part to be scarier than the presentation. You're now in the hot seat and your committee is going to ask you any and all questions about your research. It was scary for me because my committee has been along for the ride since the beginning of my work, so they know the minute details and can ask very precise questions about it. Your question time with your committee could take 30 minutes or more, and that's because they've had the opportunity to read your dissertation document before the defense. Also, it looks bad if they don't have at least a couple of questions for you. If you survive this intense interrogation of your work, you'll be asked to step outside of the room so your committee can deliberate. I'm not sure what happens in the room at this point. However, I've got some good intel from others. I've heard that one person's committee didn't even talk about passing or failing them. They chatted for a little while in the room to make it seem like they did. In this case, their committee had already decided that they were passable. Another told me that their committee was deliberating for over 30 minutes because one of the members didn't want to pass them without having an extensive amount of additional work. My committee took about 20 minutes. They discussed some details I needed to fix in my work and conditionally passed me. Honestly, there isn't a clear failure when it comes to your dissertation defense. If there are major edits or more work to be completed, it's still considered a conditional pass. I imagine that someone would fail if they didn't complete any of the work they agreed to do at their dissertation proposal. So there you have it, the inside look on what a dissertation defense is. But just to recap on the major parts, you're introduced, you present, the general audience asks you questions, they leave, your committee asks you questions, you step out while your committee deliberates, and you return for their decision. Let me know if I've cleared up some of the mystery behind the dissertation defense by commenting and liking this video. For more on the PhD journey, subscribe to my Unfinished family. Thanks a billion for watching, and check me out in my next video.